Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to Srila Prabhupada Book Reading Club. Currently we are reading Sri Īšopanīšad and yesterday we covered mantra 11 and mantra 12 and some part of mantra 13. So today we will try to cover mantra 13 and so let's start our session by offering the prayers. Om Ajnanatamidandhasya ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहित कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्विताञ्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुलङ्गायते गिरि यत्कृपातहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्द माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. So if you want to read they can raise their hand. So I think we have to start with thus all Vedic literature. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Vinod Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Thus, all Vedic literature confirms that Narayana or Krishna is the cause of all causes. In the Brahma Samhita 5.1, also it is said that the Supreme Lord is Sri Krishna, Govinda, the delighter of every living being and the primeval cause of all causes. The really learned person knows this form, evidence given by the great sages and the Vedas, and thus they decide to worship Lord Krishna as all in all. Such persons are called Buddha or really learned because they worship only Krishna. The conviction that Krishna is all in all is established when one hears the transcendental message from the undisturbed acharyas with faith and love. One who has no faith in or love for Lord Krishna cannot be convinced of this simple truth. Those who are faithless are described in the Bhagavad Gita 9.11 as mudas, fools, or asses. It is said that the mudas deride the personality of Godhead because they do not have complete knowledge from the undisturbed Acharya. One who is disturbed by the whirlpool of material energy is not qualified to become an Acharya. Before hearing the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was disturbed by the material whirlpool, by his affection for his family, society, and community. Thus, Arjuna wanted to become a philanthropic, non-violent man of the world. But when he became Buddha, by hearing the Vedic knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Person, he changed his decision and became a worshipper of Lord Sri Krishna, who had himself arranged the battle of Kurukshetra. Arjuna worshipped the Lord by fighting with his so-called relatives, and in this way he became a pure devotee of the Lord. Such accomplishments are possible only when worships the real Krishna and not some fabricated Krishna invented by foolish men who are without knowledge of the intricacies of the science of Krishna described in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. According to the Vedanta Sutra, Sambhuta is the source of birth and sustenance as well as the reservoir that remains after annihilation. Janma Asya Tha, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra by the same author, maintains that the source of all emanations is not like a dead stone, but is abhijana, abhijnana, or fully conscious. The primeval Lord Sri Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita 7.26 that he is fully conscious of past, present, and future, and that no one, including demigods such as Shiva and Brahma, knows him fully. Certainly, half-educated spiritual leaders who are disturbed by the tides of material existence cannot know him fully. They try to make some compromise by making the mass of humanity the object of worship. But they do not know that such worship is only a myth because the masses are imperfect. The attempt by these so-called spiritual leaders is something like pouring water on the leaves of a tree instead of the root. The natural process is to pour water on the root, but such disturbed leaders are more attracted to the leaves than the root. Despite their perpetually watering the leaves, however, everything dries up for want of nourishment. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Snigdha Mataji, you can read. Okay. Hare Krishna, Snigdha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sri īšopanīšad advises us to pour water on the root, the source of all germination. Worship of the mass of humanity by rendering bodily service, which can never be perfect, is less important than service to the soul. The soul is the root that generates different types of bodies according to the law of karma. To serve human beings by medical aid, social help, and educational facilities, while at the same time cutting the throats of poor animals in slaughterhouses is no service at all to the soul, the living being. The living being is perpetually suffering in different types of bodies from the material miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. The human form of life offers one a chance to get out of this entanglement simply by re-establishing the lost relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. The Lord comes personally to teach this philosophy of surrender unto the Supreme. The Sambhuta, real service to humanity, is rendered when one teaches surrender to and worship of the Supreme Lord with full love and energy. That is the instruction of Sri īšopanīšad in this mantra. The simple way to worship the Supreme Lord in this age of disturbance is to hear and chant about his great activities. The mental speculators, however, think that the activities of the Lord are imaginary. Therefore, they refrain from hearing of them and invent some word jugglery without any substance to divert the attention of the innocent masses of people. Instead of hearing of the activities of Lord Krishna, such pseudo-spiritual masters advertise themselves by inducing their followers to sing about them. In modern times, the number of such pretenders has increased considerably, and it has become a problem for the pure devotees of the Lord to save the masses of people from the unholy propaganda of these pretenders and pseudo-incarnations. The Upanishads indirectly draw our attention to the primeval Lord, Sri Krishna. But the Bhagavad Gita, which is the summary of all Upanishads, directly points to Sri Krishna. Therefore, one should hear about Krishna as he is by hearing from the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this way, one's mind will gradually be cleansed of all contaminated things. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 says, by hearing of the activities of the Lord, the devotee draws the attention of the Lord. Thus, the Lord, being situated in the heart of every living being, helps the devotee by giving him proper directions. The Bhagavad Gita 10.10 confirms this. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. The Lord's inner direction cleanses the devotee's heart of all contamination produced by the material modes of passion and ignorance. Non-devotees are under the sway of passion and ignorance. One who is in passion cannot become detached from material hankering, and one who is in ignorance cannot know what he is or what the Lord is. Thus, when one is in passion or ignorance, there is no chance for self-realization. However much one may play the part of a religionist, for a devotee, the modes of passion and ignorance are removed by the grace of Lord. In this way, the devotee becomes situated in the quality of goodness, the sign of a perfect Brahmana. Anyone can qualify as Brahmana if he follows the path of devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.18 also says, Kirata hun andhara pulinda pulkasha abhatra sumbha yavana khasadayah ye anye cha papayad apasraya shrayah shuddhanti tasmai prabhavisnave namah. Any low-born person can be purified by the guidance of a pure devotee of the Lord, for the Lord is extraordinarily powerful. When one attains Brahminical qualifications, he becomes happy and enthusiastic to render devotional service to the Lord. Automatically, the science of God is unveiled before him. By knowing the science of God, one gradually becomes freed from material attachments, and one's doubtful mind becomes crystal clear by the grace of the Lord. One who attains this stage is a liberated soul and can see the Lord in every step of life. This is the perfection of Sambhava as described in this mantra of Sri īšopanīšad. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna
you.
Mataji. We can see how beautifully Prabhupada has like explained,
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, like everyone is like working low, let me do this social work so I can so I'm doing some great work. Even like people say na, like why you are wasting milk on abhisheka on Lord, why you are wasting lot of flowers, and like, why you are putting lot of lot of money just to worship the idols. But actually these are not idols, they are archa vigraha. And even like every temple, like this is the minimum amount, like a 10 lakhs simply for the deity worship. Okay, simply for the archa vigra. Then people say why you are wasting lot of money, but we are actually not wasting. And they said like, oh, that 10 lakh money you can use for that to feed the hungry child. But like is it great humanity work? The greatest humanity work is that like which tell us to surrender to God, surrender to Krishna, and worship the supreme personality. How? Like with the love and energy, with the enthusiasm. Okay, but like we are misguided na yet, because like whatever amount of food you supply to that kids, like next life they are going like next life if they become insect, you are not going to dare to supply food. Even if you supply the food, like if you supply the clothes, like entire life you are not going to supply the things. But when you give the holy name, it will cleanse their karma. If they take the path of a devotional service, they can even like go from this world, then from this goal, or like from this bhuloka to goloka, then what to speak about these basic necessities? Krishna will take care of everything. So like a like a greatest thing you can give to someone, that is a Krishna consciousness, that is the holy name, that is the scriptures. Okay, and even like like Prabhupada again and again says that na, like by hearing the activities of a Lord, the devotees draw the attention of a Lord. So when we chant, Krishna personally comes in the form of a sound incarnation. Just because our senses are not pure, we are not able to sense that, or we are not able to see the Krishna. And even like by hearing about the Krishna, then Krishna is just seated inside our heart in a form of a Paramatma. So Krishna listens. Okay, he is very interested about me. Then like he will introduce the spiritual master, he will introduce the devotees in your life. Okay, so like whatever desires you have, Krishna like a response according to that. So yes, and the most important is we have to take the like a guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Can we read the purpose only, the 2 pages for this shloka of 14? Tomorrow we will take the summary class. Okay, for last 4 shloka. Hare Krishna, Sharmila Mataji, Ritvika Mataji. Yes, Ritvika Mataji, you unmuted, na?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sambhu, sam, Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastadvedo vayam shaha vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutya mritam ashnute. Translation: one should know perfectly the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna and his transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes, as well as the temporary material creation with its temporary demigods, men, and animals. When one knows this, he surpasses death and the ephemeral cosmic manifestation with it, and in the eternal kingdom of God, he enjoys his eternal life of bliss and knowledge. Herbert. By its so-called advancement of knowledge, human civilization has created many material things, including spaceships and atomic energy. Yet it has failed to create a situation in which people need not die, take birth again, become old, or suffer from disease. Whenever an intelligent man raises the question of these miseries before a so-called scientist, the scientist very cleverly replies that material science is progressing and that ultimately it will be possible to render man deathless, ageless, and diseaseless. Such answers prove the scientist's gross ignorance of material nature. In material nature, everyone is under the strict, stringent laws of hmm, matter and mass pass and must pass through six stages of existence: birth, growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, deterioration, and finally death. No one in contact with material nature can be beyond these six laws of transformation. Therefore, no one, whether demigod, man, animal, or plant, can survive forever in the material world. The duration of life varies according to species. Lord Brahma, the chief living being within this material universe, lives for millions and millions of years, while a minute germ lives for some hours only. But no one in the material world can survive eternally. Things are born or created under certain conditions. They stay for some time, and if they continue to live, they grow, procreate, gradually dwindle, and finally vanish. According to these laws, even the Brahmas of which there are millions in different universes are all liable to death either today or tomorrow. Therefore, the entire material universe is called Martyaloka, the place of death. Material scientists and politicians are trying to make this place deathless because they have no information of the deathless spiritual nature. This is due to their ignorance of the Vedic literature, which contains full knowledge confirmed by mate- um, mature transcendental experience. Unfortunately, modern man is averse to receiving knowledge from the Vedas, Puranas, and other scriptures.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hari Bol. Yes, Sureshwari Mataji.
Hare Krishna
Sureshwari
Mataji.
Sudamai Devi
Pranam.
Das Mataji.
Hare Krishna
Pranam
Mataji.
Mataji.
Pranam. From the Vishnu Purana 6.7.61, we receive the following information. Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta Kshetrajñakhya Tata Para Avidya Karma Samnyaya Tritiya Shaktir Ishyate. Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, possesses different energies known as para, superior, and apara, inferior. The living entities belong to the superior energy. The material energy in which we are presently entangled is the inferior energy. The material creation is made possible by this energy, which covers the living entities with ignorance, avidya, and induces them to perform fruitive activities. Yet there is another part of the Lord's superior energy that is different from both this material inferior energy and the living entities. That superior energy constitutes the eternal deathless abode of the Lord. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 88.20. Parastasmat tu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. All the material planets, upper, lower, and intermediate, including the Sun, Moon, and Venus, are scattered throughout the universe. These planets exist only during the lifetime of Brahma. Some lower planets, however, are vanquished after the end of one day of Brahma and are again created during the next day of Brahma. On the upper planets, time is calculated differently. One of our years is equal to only 24 hours or one day and night, and on many of the upper planets. The four ages of Earth, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali, last only 12,000 years according to the time scale of the upper planets. Such a length of time multiplied by 1,000 constitutes one day of Brahma, and one night of Brahma is the same. Such days and nights such days and nights accumulate into months and years, and Brahma lives for 100 such years. At the end of Brahma's life, the complete universal manifestation is vanquished. Those living beings who reside on higher planets like the sun and the moon, as well as those on Martyaloka, this earth planet, and also those who live on lower planets, all are merged into the waters of devastation during the night of Brahma. During this time, no living beings or species remain manifest, although spiritually they continue to exist. This unmanifested stage is called Avyakta. Again, when the entire universe is vanquished at the end of Brahma's lifetime, there is another Avyakta state. But beyond these two unmanifested states is another unmanifested state, the spiritual atmosphere or nature. There are a great number of spiritual planets in this atmosphere, and these planets exist eternally, even when all the planets within this material universe are vanquished at the end of Brahma's life. There are many material universes, each under the jurisdiction of a Brahma, and this cosmic manifestation within the jurisdiction of the various Brahmas is but a display of one fourth of the energy of the Lord, Ekapada Vibhuti. This is the inferior energy. Beyond the jurisdiction of Brahma is the spiritual nature, which is called Tripad Vibhuti, three-fourths of the Lord's energy. This is the superior energy or Paraprakriti. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Who wants to read? Last four paragraphs.
Hello, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Prabhuji, let's give chance to someone who didn't read yet.
No problem, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Usha Mataji,
Hare
Rasa
Krishna.
Sagara, Sri Krishna Prabhu. Yes, Surendranath
Can I read?
Prabhu.
Yes,
Yes, Prabhu.
thank you. It's reading from the predominant.
Yes,
The
Prabhu.
predominant supreme person residing within the spiritual law nature is Lord Sri Krishna. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.22, he can be approached only by unalloyed devotional service and not by the procedure of jnana, philosophy, yoga. Yoga, mysticism, or karma, fruitive work. The karmis of fruitive workers can elevate themselves to Swargaloka planets, which include the sun and the moon. Jnanis and yogis can attain still higher planets such as Maharloka, Tapaloka, and Brahmaloka, and when they become still more qualified through devotional service, they can enter into the spiritual nature. Either the illuminating cosmic atmosphere of the spiritual sky, Brahman, or the Vaikuntha planets, according to their qualifications. It is certain, however, that no one can enter into spiritual Vaikuntha planets without being trained in devotional service. On the material planets, everyone from Brahma down to ant is trying to lord it over material nature. And this is the material disease. As long as this material disease continues, the living entity has to undergo the process of bodily change. Whether he takes the form of a man, a demigod, or animal, he ultimately has to endure an unmanifested condition during the two devastations. The devastations during the night of the Brahma and the devastations at the end of the Brahma's life. If we want to put an end to this process of repeated birth and death, as well as to the commitments factors of old age and disease, we must try to enter the spiritual planet where we can live eternally in the association of Lord Krishna or his plenary expansions, his Narayana forms. Lord Krishna and his preliminary expansions dominate every one of these innumerable planets, a fact confirmed in the Shruti mantra Eko Vashi Sarvaga Krishna Idaya Ekopi San Bahuda Yo Vabhati Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.21. No one can dominate Krishna. It is the conditioned soul who tries to dominate material nature and is instead subjected to the laws of material nature and the sufferings of repeated birth and death. The Lord comes here to re-establish the principles of religion, and the basic principle of is the development of an attitude of surrender to Him. This is the Lord's last instruction in Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Sarva dharma parijatya mam ekam saranam vraja. Give up all other processes of and just surrender unto me alone. Unfortunately, foolish men have misinterpreted this prime teaching and misled the masses of the people in diverse ways. People have been urged to open hospitals, but not to educate themselves to enter into the spiritual kingdom by devotional service. They have been taught to take interest in only in temporary relief work, which can never bring real happiness to the living entity. They start varieties of public and semi-governmental institutions to tackle the devastating powers of nature, but they don't know how to pacify insurmountable nature. Many men are advertised as great scholars of the Bhagavad Gita, but they overlook Gita's message by which material nature can be pacified. Powerful nature can be pacified only by the awakening of God consciousness, as clearly pointed out in Bhagavad Gita 7.14. In this mantra, the īšopanişad teaches that one must perfectly know Sambhuti, the personality of Godhead, and Vinasha, the temporary material manifestation side by side. By knowing the material manifestation alone, one cannot be saved, for in the course of nature there is devastation in every moment. Ahani ahani bhutani gachanta yama layam. Nor can one be saved from this devastation by the opening of hospitals. One can be saved only by the complete knowledge of eternal life of bliss and awareness. The whole Vedic scheme is meant to educate in this art of attaining eternal life. People are often misguided by temporary attractive things based on sense gratification. But service rendered to sense object is both misleading and degrading. We must therefore save ourselves and our fellow men in the right way. There is no question of liking or disliking the truth. It is there. If we want to be saved from the repeated birth and death, we must take to devotional service of the Lord. There can be no compromise, for this is a matter of necessity. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So yes, Prabhupada, every
Yes,
purport,
yes.
every paragraph Prabhupada is saying now, please take the devotional service. And even Prabhupada is saying, oh, you're planning for sense gratification in a hope that you will become happy. But you're not, you will never, Prabhupada says here, you will never become happy simply by like rendering services to the like by doing the sense gratification or rendering service to the senses. Even like making the hospitals, schools, educating the people, like, giving them food or like giving them food, shelter, everything. Like it is extended sense gratification, because you will feel happy. You don't care for Krishna, how Krishna is happy or not. You care for your happiness, and you want the name, fame. Like people are too much attached to the name and fame. Okay, that's why it is so. It is also like whatever social service you are calling, whatever selfless service you are calling, but actually you like that is extended form of a sense gratification. So by doing sense gratification even for a self or by extended, like you are not going to get the real happiness. For real happiness, you should practice the devotional service, and there should be no compromise. Okay, this 4 hours or 3 hours for my Krishna or for my devotional life, and so like nothing should come in between that. Okay, and it is not an option now. Okay, you can take devotional service, you cannot take. Prabhupada say must. We must take the devotional service, and we must practice the our sadhana sincerely. Okay, and even like yes, Krishna Shakti vina na hoy parivartan. Without Krishna's mercy, we cannot change ourselves. Without Krishna's mercy, we cannot go from the tamoguna to rajoguna and rajoguna to satoguna, even translate the satoguna. We require mercy. But how this mercy comes? Mercy comes according to our sincerity. When we are sincere in our sadhana, then mercy of a pure devotee, mercy of a Krishna comes, and that brings a change. Okay, so it is very important to become very strong in a sadhana. And yes, we have to chant the 16 rounds, but chant the 16 rounds with the quality. It is very important. You should hear the uh, you should hear the Harikatha. You should read the Srila Prabhupada books. Okay. And yes, like for like last 2 days now, we are simply reading. Like it doesn't require the explanation also. It is so good. Okay. Like, and English is not so bad. Anyone can understand this. But like our problem is that we don't read. Prabhupada want like his devotees to read his book at least 6 times. Okay, and but we are not putting efforts now. Like even like you have to keep the 3 more copies of a small books, and when you are having the free time, like even the 5 minutes when you are traveling, like why don't you keep the like small book copy within your purse or within your pocket? Like there will be hardly 50 to 100 grams. Okay, there is not so weight also, and like whatever time you get, please try to read the Prabhupada's books, because life is so short, and like, until and unless we read the books, like our consciousness is not going to change. So happy Krishna conscious day. Today we will end here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Ananta koti vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.